So I put together some information on ODOS. A lot of you guys are on Facebook. You know, we're plastered all over Facebook. And so I gave you a little pamphlet in front of you to share with you. We're working on our ODOS website right now, odossynergyservices.org. We are 501c3. I got my 501c3 in February 2019. And so that was also a blessing because a lot of people say, what are you doing? You don't know what you're doing. What are you doing? You crazy. Why are you doing that? You old. But we can do anything we want at any age. There's no limitations. So I want you guys to stand up. I want you to look at the person next to you. I want you to tell that person, you are phenomenal. You are phenomenal. You are phenomenal. You are beautiful. That is going to be rolled out on the 23rd of September. We are sending a Zoom panel presentation with SBA, PTAP, Internal Services Agency in Sacramento, and they have agreed to partner with us to educate African American women on government contracts because we're not getting enough information on resources in government contracting. We're also going to be doing the ODOS fundraiser October the 28th. I'm coming out with an invitation for that. I want you guys to spread the word on that. And we're going to be working on our 2020 conference, and I'm looking at East Palo Alto for underrepresented women of color in East Palo Alto. So we'll talk more about that later. Hello! Check in, ladies. I'm going to be emailing you guys some additional information right now. We want to get Renee started on her presentation. So I have the
people texting me saying they on their way.
They don't have to pay. They need to give $100 donation.
They do. But it's so vital. I know this is they can use the main thing. We're trying to write on the third minute.
So I'll talk a little bit. We're going to do another economic development conference in March 2020. Also,
where's that going to be on this?
I'm looking at East Palo Alto because of their rich culture, their history, and they were here before Silicon Valley. And so we want to talk about their rich culture and history in the women of color in that community, the underrepresented women of color in that community. And what's next? What are the next steps in our journey as entrepreneurs in this global economy? And we're going to plan some retreats in other countries, and I'm looking at where? Who knows where I want to go? Mexico. Say it again. Mexico. And I say it again. Mexico.
Is there an African American community there, though?
Yes.
There is.
This is quiet apartment. It's about 40 minutes outside, and I want to move there. I'm trying to move there too. That's another thing.
Well, you're not.
Don't tell me. So if I go there, you come visit. So stop completed. So I went there in April, and I went there because there was another entrepreneur sister there who travels around the world. And there actually are several millionaire sisters that are millionaires, consultants, entrepreneurs in that area. But if you go to Facebook and you go to Black expats, international to any country, you will see all of these people traveling all over the world. We're talking Asia, of course, Brazil, Central America, Mexico. I know at least about 15 sisters in Mexico right now, in different parts of Mexico. And a lot of Americans and the Canadians are buying up all the property in Mexico right now. There's about 80,000 Americans that go to Mexico just for vacation because it's so cheap. And compared to our dollar, it's like $19 today compared to our dollar. So it's very inexpensive living, and they have, guess what? Healthcare. Excellent healthcare. I can go there and get all my healthcare, my teeth done. Get a lot of stuff, get a little white one. No, you think I can't do
No,
this?
no, it's real. I know someone who's done it.
I'm
People
gonna take
like,
my 401k. And then you guys gonna be, Lisa, where you at? I'm coming. There's a phenomenal world out here. Just because we become a certain age doesn't mean that we cannot be a part of it. And so I'm looking at government contracting, I'm looking at international import exporting, some type of certification. I'm looking at cybersecurity, how to protect our data, because we're behind. We cannot protect ourselves with the increase of cyber attacks in this country, and especially women of color. We have no clue. And so I'm trying to identify resources. FTC has some resources as well, and we're talking to them. And so I'm just getting started. So that's why those of you guys are consultants, you have expertise. I'm creating an affiliate arrangement with a lot of consultants that I'm personally vetting to be a part of ODOS. ODOS would be a one-stop shopper like AARP or AAA or African American and women of color. Hopefully globally, that's my goal. But you guys know that takes time. Are we still waiting? We gotta get moving. I have a pleasure and honor of introducing a phenomenal woman who has over 20 years as a corporate coach. See, I know this stuff. It's not even written.
Is she a corporate dropout too?
No. She keeps those corporate folks in place.
Oh,
That's what she does. So Bernice Johnson, the boldness coach, is a global leadership coach, keynote speaker, brand strategist, and author. She teaches, empowers, and challenges today's high-performing and high-achieving professional women to up-level their career choices and successions with intention, ownership, and self-direction, while she amplifies her brand, grows her career, and makes a purposeful impact in this world, right?
That's
Building in this world, making an impact. Bernice serves clients in the corporate and small business place, and I have the honor, I just met her over a month ago, and we sat down at an Intel conference, and we just vibed just like that. We had that synergy, ODOS synergy, so we had synergy, and that's what's important for us to get to the next level. So I want to introduce my new friend, our new friend, Miss Coach Bernice Johnson from the San Francisco Bay Area. Give her a big hand.
Thank you. It's so great to be here. I like the fact that you all said, no, that's our friend too. So, like reaching out globally is what my intentions are. So I'm excited to be here. Are you all glad to be here? Yes. Here's the good news. The people that need to be here are in the room. So the folks that are not here, they're going to miss out. And you guys are going to be able to tell them after this talk that they missed out.
No, I didn't want to tell them that though.
But you can tell them afterwards, they missed out, right? So here's what I want to do. We're going to have an interactive conversation. Are you ladies up for that?
Yes.
So we're going to have an interactive conversation because I'm going to share some of my stories with you in 3 particular areas, but I'm also going to ask you some questions and to open you up to be able to share with me and with others around you. And this is really important because what I'm finding in my journey of being an author, of being a coach, of being a leadership coach, also a brand strategist, is that we're missing connectivity with community and connectivity with community among women. Missing connectivity where we are looking for the safe space to be able to talk about what we are going through in our day-to-day life journey. We're missing the safe space that we can be able to talk to someone else that gets what we're going through. And doesn't think we're crazy. Or doesn't say, oh girl, you got that cushy job, what you worried about? You know, or when we want to dream and somebody says, what you want to go do that for? Or when we're ready to get out of that relationship and they was like, girl, you know how hard it is to find a good man out there? Wait, right? All of that kind of chatter that keeps us from really finding our level of boldness. So I want to invite you on a journey with me in how I got to be the boldness coach. Have any of you ever awakened on any given morning and start to think about your life? Like, is this what I want in my life? How did I get here? Like, was this really what I was dreaming about, what I was thinking about? And then as you were reflecting on that and being introspective, you look around and you're like, how did I get here? Anybody feel like that sometimes when you wake up in the morning?
Amen.
Whether you're in the routine, you know, maybe you got to get up, get dressed, get out the house, first get in traffic, because you got to get to a job, or you got to be someplace, or perhaps you committed to something that you said you was going to do because somebody asked you, and then, but you really knew your heart of hearts it really wasn't what you really wanted to do, and you suffered through the entire time you were there.
Yep.
I see some giggles, like, yeah. Like, yeah, I said, was that yesterday? Is that right now? Right? So here's the deal. I woke up one morning, I found myself at the age of 47, I woke up one day and I found myself on my journey to being divorced. After I had waited until I was 42 to get married. So at 42, I said, okay, I think I'm smart enough, intelligent enough, savvy enough. I think I'm open for this challenge, right? I think I can do this. I've been through my ups and downs of relationships. So I get married. Well, 4 years later, the person who I was married to said that they weren't in love anymore.
Oh, child. Woo.
You know?
I already know.
We in church. So I looked around and I'm like, how did I get here? How did I like wake up? I thought I was on the right path. I thought I was doing the right things. And yet still, I'm in a place of disappointment. Now, here's the tricky thing. On this journey, I was getting signs. I was getting notifications, right? Whether they were text messages,
You was getting
whether they was writing on the walls, whether they were verbally being told to me, I was getting messages along the way. However, I chose to ignore those messages. So how many times have we been in situations, even if you at the stoplight and the light says green to go, but something in you says don't push that gas yet. And then we hit the gas, and then bam, we're in an accident. And the first thing you say is, my spirit told me not to go. Why did I go? Right? And so one of the things that I had to really learn about myself, which is the 3 things we're going to talk about today, is that self-awareness is key. Self-awareness is when you are in tune with yourself, when you can be able to feel the signals, you know, that's coming at you, and it gives you a chance to pause and say, wait a minute, something's going on, something's happening. Now, I'll tell you another way to look at this, and you all may have heard this before, being out of integrity. Anybody heard that language before, being out of integrity? So I'm going to talk about 2 meanings of being out of integrity. One is the moral issue of being out of integrity, when you're doing something wrong. The other issue is when you're spiritually out of integrity, is when you have compromised your wholeness. I know, right? Yeah. Right? Yeah. So the current meaning of people use, like when I'm out of integrity, people say that's a buzzword, right? Whether that's a moral issue, right? That's morality, doing something wrong, you know, you knew better, you know, you're better than that. You know, that kind of where integrity comes from. Right. But the other meaning of integrity really is the base and the real meaning is spiritual integrity. That's when we're out of wholeness with who we are. And out of wholeness, meaning that we're not operating in the totality of who we are, you know, spirit-wise, right? And we've letting ourselves get into these situations. Well, guess what? I got myself into a situation.
We all do.
I got myself into a situation. And I had to face the reality that what was happening with me wasn't because somebody else did it. Ooh, I see what you're in. Yes.
That's the cold part.
Right. But here it gets even colder. The colder is that I had to tell myself the truth.
Yes.
To myself first.
Come on, sister.
About my own choice.
Yes. Yes, sister.
So let's flip this script a little bit. Let's take this out of the one-on-one personal relationship. Let's look at from the careers that we have. See, some people in this room are in careers that they know they should have let go a long time ago. And some of them are pissed off with their bosses because he always or she always been coming at me sideways. When you already know you have overstayed your time.
Yeah.
And you want other people to be able to meet you in a place of complacency and comfortability. Yeah? And when they're not meeting you there, now we upset about it. Right?
Wow.
So I had to ask myself some hard questions on that day. And it was my birthday. On my 47th birthday that I got the notification that I'm gonna divorce you.
Wow.
So I spent my birthday down at the county courthouse looking at how to file divorce for myself.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
Yeah.
Boss
No,
up.
because I had known, I knew, I was self-aware that what he was saying to me was a truth that I needed to face long before he told it to me. So how many of you are in situations, you know, family members, relationships, friendships, you know, careerships, your entrepreneurships? How many of you are on the ship? On the ship. And the ship ain't even left the harbor. Every day you wake up talking about today gonna be a different day. It's gonna be a new day. But the ship never left the harbor. And what was so funny is that there was a sign on the ship that said, "Don't get on this ship."
Oh, yeah.
This ship goes, and the fine print said, "This ship goes nowhere."
Wow.
Yes. And we took all our belongings and got on the ship. Picked the room with the balcony and a
We just
view.
stopped, sister, we just stopped.
And got comfortable.
Oh,
I
yes.
said, this is my spot right here. And ready to defend it to the day you die.
Yes.
But your self-awareness says you're out of integrity. You're out of wholeness. You need to get off this ship by any means necessary. You don't need to take nothing with you but trust yourself. So guess what? I had to get off that ship. And I had to get in it, and the ship was getting in the car and driving down to the county office and say, I need to figure out how to file divorce for myself. Where do I find the papers? Right? So that was the first area of self-awareness. So I want you to ask yourself this question silently. What is going on in your life that you really need to engage your self-awareness around? That you have been overlooking. You have had so many warning signs. Whether you couldn't sleep last night, whether everything you put in your mouth sticks and blows out, right? Whether your hair falling out, whether you're agitated all the time, always popping some kind of pill to make you feel better. Everything you eat upsets you. Everything somebody say to you upsets you. So what is it that you are aware of that you are not telling yourself the truth around? That is the question that you get to ask yourself. The second area that I discovered on this journey of self-awareness was about self-direction. Because see, I know inside of me, in my integrity, in my wholeness, where I need to be going. Now, I might not know exactly what that journey is gonna look like as I move through it, right? See, some of us need all the signs, don't we? We need God to come down, knock on the door, sit down and talk with you, and give you a roadmap, and sit down and point you on the map, send you a text message, tell you to download the app, right? We need all of that. And then after all of that happens, we still tell God, well, I don't know. I'm waiting on the sign. Anybody still waiting on the sign? Somebody telling them, right? So here's the deal with self-direction. You see, I knew where I needed to go. And I knew what path I needed to be on. But I wanted to choose the easy road. I wanted to choose the road with less confrontation, the road of less truth,
Right.
the road of less self-awareness. I wanted to choose that pathway because it was easy and comfortable to me. And that was the devil I know. So why would I go do something that I don't know what's going to happen? Right?
Right.
And so I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, listen, Where are you going? Not where nobody around you is going. Where are you going? What's your calling in life? What are you pushing and pressing towards that you're in a gift? What's your big? What's your genius that you need to be building in? And that's what BIG stands for, building in your genius.
Okay.
Because each one of us in this room has genius in us.
Yes.
Yes.
But my own self-direction was keeping me from building in my genius. So let me translate this for you on another side. How many of you in this room are waiting for the next level in your career? How many of you waiting for your financial blessing?
Yes.
Whether that's a promotion, whether that's playing the lotto, right? All of that, right? Just getting some money, right? How many of you are waiting to be somebody to recognize you for your greatness at work? You're doing these projects, and you just like somebody they're gonna see me today and give me some credit. Give me credit, right? Working late, trying to get credit, right? And then the meeting go happen, and you wait for them to give you credit, right? Right? So a lot of us, or here's another way. Somebody out here is dating in a relationship, and you hoping that partner will recognize how valuable you are.
You better stop.
How good a catch. How good a catch you are. Right? Any minute now. See that. They'll come to you and say, baby, you know what? I couldn't have done this without you, baby. You so wonderful. All my life I've been looking for you. Girl, I'm so glad I'm with you. I ain't never gonna let you go. I recognize every single ingrediient thing from your hair follicles, from Jill Scott to your toenails. I recognize you, girl. Yes, I recognize you, right? All of that, you've been waiting on that. Guess what? It ain't coming. It ain't coming. It ain't coming. Not because he's not a great person. It's because he's on his own journey. Trying to figure out who he is, and right now I'm gonna tell you about. Right. He's trying to discover what his genius is. Right? Not because your boss is a bad person, they're trying to figure out their own genius. They're trying to figure out what their greatness is because they see yours. And your shining does put them on notice. That perhaps they are not stepping up their game. And they've been relying on you for you to make them look good. And they worried that one day you're going to figure that out.
That's good. You don't stop.
Okay. On the shirt. One day I'm going to figure you out.
Yes.
T-shirt. Right?
You rocking.
You know, and what about back to yourself? What about you telling yourself the truth that, listen, you're not really being as great as you can be. You are subpar. You can do better than this. What about you looking in the mirror yourself telling you, what street are you on? We don't even live in this neighborhood. How did we get to this neighborhood? Different ship, same situation.
Yeah.
Right? So I had to look at myself and say, wait a minute. I was on a journey in my first business, and I was doing so well in my first business, and I chose to do an abrupt turn to work on somebody else to help them to realize their goodness and greatness, which they never appreciated.
Girl, you don't stop it.
The more that I was working with this person, trying to tell them how great they were, the more they were sabotaging the relationship.
Okay.
And then when I went around the corner, I'm on a street that I don't recognize, and I'm like,
Girl.
man, how did I get on this street?
Girl, come on.
And then when I looked at the map says, like you do on your GPS, it keeps trying to alternate for you, right? It keeps telling you,
Right. When you
make
go
a turn,
make a U-turn.
make a U-turn, make a U-turn,
Yeah.
make a U-turn here, make a U-turn here. And as long as you keep going and you never make the U-turn, what does the GPS say? Make a U-turn, make a U-turn. And then finally, when I want to turn around, the GPS says, new route.
Yeah.
New
Yeah.
route. New route.
She ain't lying. That's what it is.
And then as you're going on that route, then you still end up someplace through a neighborhood, through trouble, situations, confrontations, again, unhappiness, loss of sleep, weight gain, migraines, whatever you call it, whatever you want to put on it, right? So I want you to ask yourself, where have you gotten off direction in your life? You know where you're supposed to be going. And where have you gotten off your own GPS? And where are you? But the good news is that you can get back to where you want to go. Now, the third thing that I want to tell you about, this is probably the most trickiest of it all. This one has to do with self-trust. Because in all honesty, this is what I did. I was clever. I don't know about the rest of y'all. So, when it came time, my ex-husband at the time, when he approached me about getting married, and I was looking at him sideways like he was crazy. Because I was like, you see how fine I am?
You're beautiful.
I'm traveling the world.
Woman, yes.
Boy, nobody got time to get married. I'm living that life. Right? Trusting and knowing that to be true. Oh, but he came with a bag of candy. And he said, little girl, I got some candy you ain't never had before. So I was like, okay, what you got? He went to spread the candy out, and I was like, ooh, I ain't never seen that one. I ain't never seen that one. And I found myself giving up what I know is true. You see, I had already known when he said the first time, I was like, you're not good for me. I already know this.
Yes.
But oh no, I was clever.
Right.
Let me tell you how clever I was. Y'all want to hear how clever I was? I called God and I said, listen, I'm going to take your word on this. So if you say go, I go. If you don't say nothing, I think you just don't say nothing. Then I go. So I'm waiting on the answer. I'm waiting like, okay, I done text God, I done call God. I done send a note by pigeon. You know, I done had holy water sprinkle. You know, I'm on my knees. I ain't heard nothing. Guess what I do? You go. I go. And guess what I rationalize it to say? Well, you know, since you ain't say nothing, it must be good. Because if it wasn't good, you would have said something. No, I got a sign. How many of y'all been calling, texting, by pigeon, smoke signal, going to the pastor, going to the sister, motherboard, deacon board, Bible study Wednesday night. And we said, God, I'm just waiting on the sign. And he don't say nothing. You say, well, he ain't said nothing. It must be a go. But he had already put it inside of me already. He's like, I told you a long time ago. I helped you to develop and strengthen your self-trust and your resolve. Look at what your life has yielded for you up until this point. So you're going to have to figure this out yourself and get back in integrity with your own trust. It ain't me. And of course, after I went through the divorce, you know what I said? Well, God, why you didn't say something? It took all this time. I had to go through all of that. The hills, the valleys, the mountains, climbing them trees, getting all scratched up, bruised, bumped and bruised, and crying and snot slinging, and, you know, blowing up, shrinking, blowing up, shrinking. Like, it took all of that. And he was actually like, you didn't have to go that direction. All you had to do was to trust yourself. You see, you didn't need to see all the staircase. You just needed to pick your foot up and step. Because if you look back at in your wake, all along I was carrying you. But you trusted yourself and you knew that if you took a step, that you knew that things were going to be revealed to you. So here's the question. How many of you don't trust yourself? How many of you are not trusting yourself with that next thing? Because you're waiting on that sign. But he had already told you some years ago. He might even told you at the stoplight making the left coming up in here. He might have told you that's why you're here. Because you got to be reminded. So self-trust is what got me back on the path. And self-trust is what opens up my door because I trust myself. Because I'm already gifted and genius to do what I'm called to do.
Yeah.
Come on now.
So I had to be able to disrupt the belief systems that I was buying into. And the belief systems that have been fed to me. Not necessarily intentionally because they've been passed down. They've been passed down.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Y'all know the story about the ham in the pan?
Yes.
Right? So for those of y'all that haven't heard that, so third generation, great grandmama, grandmama, mama, and daughter. Well, now, grandmama cut the end of the ham off, put it in the pan, put it in the oven. Mama cut the ham end of it off, put it in the pan, put it in the oven. The little girl say, well, Mama, why are you cutting the end of the ham off? You know, and she said, well, baby, we've always done it that way. So that's the tradition. You just cut the end of it off and you put it in the oven. So the little girl went and asked the great-great-grandmama, she said, why you cut the end of the ham off? Because Mama said, you know, that's what we've always done. She said, because the ham wouldn't fit in the pan. Generations.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Generations of believing things.
Yes.
So the mindset is a powerful tool that we need to shift to help us to be able to have access to self-awareness, self-direction, and self-trust. When your mindset is built into a belief system that you made into facts, you operate from that.
Embrace it. Yeah.
Exactly. So you gotta ask yourself, because see, I was believing some stuff. You know, I was believing some stuff. I didn't want to get divorced. You know, I was believing I had to work hard to save that. Like somebody feeding you poison. You believe it ain't gonna kill you. Right?
Wow.
Because I didn't want it to be said, I didn't do my best. Because somebody else stayed in some situations
Yes.
and telling me, girl, that's just part of what you got to do. That's just part of being there. Because they said it to me, I believe that, and I made that true for me and my situation. Right? I should have been going out there. When I said I do one day, I should have been at the courthouse the next day. I should have been like, ooh, that was fun. Now I know what that's like. Glad I got that out of my system. But no, right? In my business, you know, believing that I had to find that thing because I was seeing everybody else doing these things.
Yeah.
And I kept holding back my genius because I was believing that there was something else that needed to happen before I stepped out. See, I was believing in perfection. And I was making perfection the truth of where I needed to operate from. Anybody on that? Y'all should see y'all heads this way. Y'all have my view, right? Yeah. Waiting to stand in perfection because I had made perfection true. That it had to be done this way. Translation: I can't leave this job. What am I going to do? I need this to survive. And I'm not saying I don't know your situation. I'm not saying you to go home and call or send an email tonight and say I quit. You know what you got. You know what business you got to get in place to handle. Right? But why not handle the business that needs to be handled so that you can go to the next step? Right? So I know this about myself, but I was yet still stuck in that mindset. So I had to get myself out of this. And I started thinking, if I think like this and having these experiences, are other women having these experiences too?
Okay.
And perhaps we need to get together and talk about it.
Right.
But let me put my truth on the line first. Let me go first.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Because see, we're quick to judge when we see complete packages.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
There's no way you could be like, you could have experienced this. There's no way you don't have that. What? You? Oh, my world is doomed now. What happened to you ain't no hope for me. Right? You know, is that we start judging people. And sometimes inadvertently we just fall into that. Right? And then we create these narratives, these stories, and we operate from them. Now, I'm not saying that there's not any truth in some of the narrative, but is it really true? Is it true to the point to where you need to operate your life from it? So you got to ask yourself those questions. Am I ringing anybody's bell today?
Yes. All right.
You ding, ding, ding. You're like, this is a big bell. Like a cowbell, right? Right? Because what I'm sharing with you is what I had wanted other women to come and tell me. You see, I was scurrying around saying, are you going to tell me the truth, T? What's up with you? You know, what's up with you, Trisha? Are you going to tell me? You know, so I had to scurry.
Yeah.
You know, because, and girl, you know, how you doing today, girl? Girl, I'm all right, I'm good.
I'm blessed.
Yeah. Blessed and highly favored. And we're upside down and cray cray.
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you're not blessed, but tell the truth where you are in the blessing. Yeah, I'm just surviving. And what does that mean? You know, I'm having a tough time. Sometimes I can't sleep at night. I got stuff on my mind. Sometimes I cry at commercials. You know, like, you know, I don't know if this is the right situation I'm in, because I'm scared to tell somebody, because I don't want somebody to tell me I'm crazy, so I just don't say nothing and just deal with the situation. So I decided to tell my own truth. And I decided to put some questions out there through my book. Because I was like, I gotta get this out, I gotta disrupt this, because this is crazy. It's like being in a space with zombies and you're the only sane person. And everybody's just going through the motions and expecting a different outcome. Or everybody looking over here, me thinking that I got something special. No, I'm just like you. The only difference is I'm paying attention. So self-awareness and self-direction and self-trust is going to take you a long way. But the first that starts everything is a decision. If you want any of this to resonate with you, it first starts with a decision. What are you deciding for yourself? From this point forward, what will you choose for yourself? I wish I could say it's going to be easy. I wish I could say it's going to be fun. What I can tell you, it is rewarding. It is the best side to be on. It's the side where no longer can the man show up with candy. And the candy could be a bonus job, staying in a place with some people working that you don't like, doing what you hate doing.
It'll just be fine.
You know, but just be fine, but just be okay with it. Nobody can entice me anymore about that. And somebody can't come up and over-compliment me to the point to where I say, you think that's true? You think that? Tell me I look good. I'll be like, thank you. That was the intention when I left the house. Yes, you see it too? Being asked. You know what I mean? Because there's times when I'm like, right. Because there's times people say that to us and then we start second guessing ourselves or we start doing it to get attention from other people. I dress up at home, walk around the mirror, my mind like, girl, you look good.
I'm taking selfies all
Yeah, take a selfie. And don't even share them, just take them. There you go. Yeah, do it for me. Have my wife be like, that's a good angle. Right? You know what I'm saying? Self-direction. Girl, you want to come hang out with us today? I need this. I'm tired. I'm going to give me some rest. Y'all go ahead and do what y'all going to do. What you doing today? Watching Hallmark? Taking selfies? You know? So that self-direction is I need to take and preserve my soul, my peace, my inner sanctity. I need to preserve that, right? Yeah. And then self-trust when somebody shows up and the brother says, girl, you know, you're fine. I'm ready to settle down. you know, I've been looking for a woman like you. I'm ready to date, girl. And I don't even care if you date 3 or 4 other brothers. But I just want to date you. And trust myself, be like, you know what? If I was you, I would want to date me too. I got things to do. So I tell you what, you can catch me in first class going someplace. Because I trust myself enough to know that what the goodness that's out there for me is I have to go get it myself.
Yes.
Because your candy, man, it ain't welcome here no more. Because that candy don't do nothing. That's the cornerstone candy.
That ain't seeds.
That ain't seeds. I don't even eat seeds. I eat my candy at about 50,000 miles up in the sky. I got that mile high candy.
Okay.
So if you ain't got that, and I trust myself to go get it for myself.
Yes.
So have I given y'all some food for thought?
Yes.
So now, I want to hear from y'all, what you gonna do when you leave here? Because I didn't come to entertain you. I didn't come here to entertain you. I
got shit in action.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's more than just talking about it.
Yeah.
I want you to have a conversation with yourself.
Right.
You ain't gotta call me to tell yourself the truth. Have a conversation with yourself. Pull on the side of the road. and fix your rearview mirror and have a conversation with yourself. And if you think you're gonna forget what you're talking about, record it. Anytime you wanna get out, you wanna way out, push play. And have a real conversation, the kind you would talk to your girlfriend, like the one that said, girl, listen here. Now, you know we've been friends for a long time. You know I love you, right? Uncomfortable conversation, girl. Yeah, that's how I do.
Pastor Paul.
Now, I don't know who Pastor Paul is, but I get it. I get it. Yeah, but you need to have an honest girlfriend conversation with yourself and tell yourself the truth. And you might need to have a box of Kleenex next to you. And it's okay if you cry. Let it out, let it go. Get yourself together, but everything starts and ends with you. Nothing happens unless you give it permission for it to happen. Whether you tell it verbally or not, it's happening. So I want you all to step into your boldness. Like, I want to read a couple things from my book because I want you to, those of you who got the book, y'all got lucky. I got some more for the rest of y'all that came afterwards. Because you might have been thinking, like, I don't know what Lisa done invited me to, I'm just coming.
At least that means they love you.
They do, they love you. Listen, so in my book on week 44, stop putting energy and effort on external expectations. Focus from a place of internal experiences to create your own expectations. Let me read this from the top and break this down. Stop putting energy and effort on external expectations. Too many times we're walking around expecting people to acknowledge us, be nice to us, give us something. You know, even if it's your kids, if it's the dog, we're all looking for somebody to give us something. We're expecting it. Well, you know, what I'm waiting on is an apology. Sick, can't sleep, hair falling out, I'm waiting on an apology. Right? So that's an external expectation. Focus from a place of internal experiences to create your own expectations. When you know from the inside out, you know that the truth is there. And if you know what the truth is and you acknowledge the truth because you've seen it show up in the past, that's what you can expect now. You don't need somebody to text you, somebody to instant message you. You don't need somebody to lie in your face. You don't need somebody to hurt your feelings. To tell you that your expectations are in the wrong place. So you want to think about that. I'm gonna mark my book up for y'all. Okay, this is one of my favorites. They all are, but this one is week 43. Contentment, complacency, and comfortability are the 3 killers of growth. Contentment. We have normalized some bad behavior and made it acceptable. Somebody talking to you crazy. That's just how he is. Just normalize that. He's always been that way. So how many times, or what are you normalizing now in your life? You're normalizing a behavior. Because you said, I don't even want to deal with it. I'm just going to let it go. Just let it be. What? Comfortability. I ain't trying to rock no boats. Just going to let things, let sleep on till it don't bother me at all. Eating you up on the inside. Can't sleep, hair falling out. Don't know why if you just walk past food and sniff it just put on 20 pounds. I remember I went to the therapist, I was in couples therapy, and when the therapist had told me that my then husband had checked out, and I looked at him aside his head, I said, you mean to tell me you're the reason I'm getting fat? Because inadvertently, I had just become so comfortable with normalizing the craziness. And I couldn't, I had heard those stories before, right? Or everything I look at. Right? If I breathe the scent of a French fry, I put on 10 pounds. That made people crazy. It was the depression. I was comfortable with depression. Functioning depression. Functioning every day. Smiling, saying happy, I'm doing fine, highly favored and blessed. Yes, thank you, thank you. Right? what you need to get uncomfortable with. You need to, some of y'all need to just go home and tell some people, call some people, text some people, this is just unacceptable.
Right.
Unacceptable.
Okay.
And then they say, what? Then you tell them you figured out. Bye. It's unacceptable, and I have to tell you that it's unacceptable. Right? Get rid of that. Now this is another one too, that's a good one. This is week 7. Early programming and restricted beliefs are hindering your growth in life. I'd probably say the biggest lesson that I've learned when I turned 50, on my way to 50, I was 51 in July. The biggest thing that I've learned is the early programming that I came up. And I've had to, and I continuously do this, go back to my childhood, and I'm separating the good from the bad. Because see, I was trying to put the bad in with the good. I was trying to put it all together.
Yes.
And I didn't know. I didn't know. So I was trying to function and operate in that craziness and that early programming. I remember one time when I first started traveling internationally, I went to Rome. And I didn't tell my folks, I was born and raised in Louisiana. So born and raised in one of the towns that ain't even on the map. I think it's on the map now, but it was not on the map, right? And so I didn't tell my folks I was going to Rome. And because my grandmother had me scared to walk to the mailbox. And it's at the end of the driveway. Well, you know what time of day it is. You can't be going to get the mail this late. What if somebody snatch you? Well, you could hear me holler, can't you? What if I'm in the back of the house? And the mailbox is in the front of the house. So I had taken copies of my passport, my hotel, you know, all my itinerary, and I had given it to a couple friends, you know, in the Bay Area. And something happened, this is where, even one of my other girlfriends, this is when Google Earth came out, it was real popular.
Yes.
Another girlfriend said, I'm downloading Google Earth on my computer, so tell me where you're going so I can zero in and see the, you know, actually like real time, where you're going. And tell me what you're wearing so I might be able to see you in the crowd. I was like, okay, girl. So finally the night before, I called and tell my folks I was going to Rome because I was feeling guilty. And I said, I'm going to call and tell them, I'm going to call my grandmama. And she said, you going to where now? What you say? I'm going to Rome. Where is that? I said, that's in Italy. Well, where is that? She said, is that over here on the other side? Oh, see, yes, ma'am, that's in Europe. And she said, what you going over there for? Well, because I want to go see. I ain't never been, you know. I want to go see what people doing, eating, sleeping, living, like what they doing. And you know what she said to me? You know they kill black people. For a minute, she got me. She got me for a minute. I said, I need to get a refund on my ticket. You mean to tell me if I go to Rome, they gonna kill me again? She got me for a minute. But because I was separating my belief systems and my programming, I said, Mama, I don't have to go to Rome to die. They kill black people over and over.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so I don't have to leave the country for that. But I'm gonna take my chances. You know? So that early programming, you know, that we've been programmed with, that we've made it to be true in our lives, and now we're struggling with that. Don't leave a job before you have a job. But in the meantime, it doesn't tell you, people are driving you crazy, stressing you out, you're on medication.
That's right.
And you can't find another job because of all of those ailments you got. Because you really would show up to an interview angry. Right? That's true. Right? And you like, I can't quit a job, and then you tell a family member that they stress you out at your job, and they say, what kind of job you got, and how much you make a year? Child, it could stress me all day.
Yeah.
Right? And they think to make you feel like you don't have no problems. It makes you feel like you're not grateful. Right? And then what do? We stay. And we suffer. We suffer. Because somebody else's belief system, they program that to us, and so now we are tethered to that line.
Yeah.
And we're not leaving. You know, so you gotta look at that early programming. You know, baby, that's just what men do. Since the beginning of time, baby, that's what they do. So you might as well settle in. That's what black men do. You might as well just settle on in. Welcome to the Wives Club. You know? And so that programming, you gotta ask yourself, yourself. Or the programming is, who you think you are trying to outshine everybody else. You know, we don't do that in this family. We don't do that. And then what you do, you just put your genius and kick it on back up under the table, hoping nobody see it. Because you don't want to stand out. You don't want no problems. Here come Miss Denise to the kitchen table. Where you done be in now? You know, they kill black people. You was lucky you got out. But the next time. You know? Or they in the pocket. You're not sharing your successes because they count your money. You know, bought a new car, but you kept the old one because that's when you can drive to your because you can't drive the new one. If you drive the new one, they're going to say, oh, look at here, everybody come to the window. They gonna come outside, got that old fancy car, huh? You got that old fancy car, what your title is? Right? So that early programming is like, I don't want to get too successful. Because you know, as a kid, I always outshine my brother. You know, I'm not supposed to do that. You know, because that makes people feel small. So I got to be humble. Somebody else is doing the crackers with y'all. When I really know I can have steak, filet mignon, and lobster on the side. With my red bottom under the table. Right? So I want you to just, I hope I put something on your mind this afternoon.
Absolutely.
2020 is tomorrow.
Yes, yes.
Not in 4 months, it's tomorrow. But today is the day that you make a decision that you want to find your level of boldness. It's raving out loud daily. Because every day you get to be brave every day and push through. Because bravery is what is waiting for you to help you. It's not going to be easy, but it's a reward on the other side. Today is the day that you choose to be big and building your genius. Because the clock is ticking. And every minute you wait, your genius is being pushed down just that much longer. People are waiting for you. Because you've got the genius that will change their situation. And it's time for you to be bad, to be branded and distinctive, and own that. It's time that when you walk in the room, people say, oh my God, Trisha is here, I've been waiting for you. And on the inside, you're like, that's why I showed up. Because I knew somebody here. And that also means that opportunities are seeking you out. Because they can tell that you're living in your integrity, your wholeness. And you're like, well, I don't know why people keep calling me. All these opportunities calling me. Because they see you, because you finally see yourself. So they don't have a choice but to see who you are. And come to you and give you stuff that they've been trying to find somebody, but you are the person. You're the one, nobody else. So now I have one last request of you. Are y'all ready?
Yeah.
Okay. This is what we gonna do. Some of y'all been to Sunday school before. You might have been to church. I tipped out, but you've been to Sunday school. So now, what I want you all to do is to stand on your feet. Everybody up? All right, good. Now, this is what I want you to do is to repeat after me. Wait till I finish before you get into it, because I know y'all ready. Y'all ready. Fire over here. I want you to repeat, I am bold, big, and bad. Wait. I want you to start off soft, and I want you to get to your crescendo so that you believe it. And I don't want you to say it for me. I want you to say it for you. Say it for you. Y'all ready? Okay, let's do it on 3. We're going to start off soft, and we're going to keep saying it and go up. 1, 2, 3. I am bold, big, and bad. I am bold, big, and bad. I am bold, big, and bad. Come on. I am bold, big, and bad. Come on. I am bold, big, and bad. Come on. I am bold, big, and bad. Give yourself a coming up, Veterans Day weekend, because I ain't want nobody talking about I got to work. So it's gonna be November the 9th, 10th, and the 11th, so it's Saturday, Sunday, and half a day Saturday, all day Sunday, half a day on Monday, on Veterans Day weekend. So come over and see me, I have a flyer. If you're interested in the retreat, take the flyer. If you're not, please don't. It's no pressure, it's no stress. You also have an opportunity to have a session with me. So make sure I have your email address. It is a free session. So you get to have a session with me so that we can be able to talk about where you are in your journey of boldness and what I can do to support you to get there. So thank you all ladies for an amazing Sunday afternoon. I appreciate it.